Before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed yesterday, the day before, months or years ago, and helped us reach 46,000 subscribers. The goal is 50K, but I really appreciate everyone who's already hopped aboard. Now, let's talk about Deshaun Watson, because I don't think anyone really expected this to be the quarterback of conversation at this point in the offseason. But a video came out yesterday of him throwing the pigskin around with a couple of Browns receivers, Jerry Jeudy and David Bell, as Mary Kay indicates. And so now we've got an interesting, I don't want to say problem, dilemma. That seems a little bit dramatic, but an interesting situation, let's call it, unfolding, because Watson appears to be way ahead of schedule. We'll run through the timeline in a little bit, but it's mid-May. He's no longer in a walking boot. He's throwing. Season starts in September. I'm not sure how many more milestones he has to surpass before he could medically be cleared to play. He's got to be getting towards the end-ish, or the end has to be in sight. And it felt like this entire offseason, Watson would never be a factor in 2025 because he'd be working his way back from an Achilles injury. But now he's throwing to Jeudy and Bell, and I would really love to know how close he is to getting cleared to play. And if he is cleared to play sometime around September, what do the Browns do? Now, that might be a little bit ambitious. We'll run through the timeline like I said, but he underwent a second Achilles surgery back in early January. And from that point, it kind of restarted the clock a little bit for when we could expect to see him back on the field, if ever again, with the Browns at least. But from a pure health standpoint, Achilles injury, 10 to 12 months. So it seemed reasonable that he could miss all of 2025. I mean, the example I'll give is Dre Greenlaw for the 49ers suffered Achilles injury during the Super Bowl in February 2 years ago, and he came back to play the final 2 games of 2024. So if Watson has a similar recovery timeline, we're looking at a December-ish return, November, Thanksgiving at the earliest. But here we are in May, and he's throwing to Jeudy and Bell, and I'm sure there are still some more steps and boxes that need to be checked, but given the time of the month, right? I mean, it's May. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making nothing, and maybe it's a big deal to nothing. Maybe this is a nothing burger, but doesn't it seem like something? Am I on an island right now? Doesn't it feel like Watson is making a lot of progress? And that's something the Browns didn't maybe account for in all the transactions this offseason and all the messaging this offseason? So let's talk about the possibility of something that no one really expected. Deshaun Watson playing in 2025. I think it's important to go back to day one, and then let's go in chronological order. When on January 10th, Deshaun Watson underwent a second Achilles surgery. On January 6th, Andrew Berry shared with the Cleveland media at the end of the year press conference that Watson had a setback in his Achilles injury. They noticed that in his final exit physical exam, and they had to go in and do a second operation. And so to me, that always indicated, all right, he's really done for all of 2025. A second surgery, man, what happened here? Was he not doing something correct? Was he not in a walking boot? Are the Browns just kind of well over him at this stage? So that was like step one or stage one of the Watson recovery timeline. Fast forward to the end of February, where Andrew Berry speaks to the media at the NFL Combine. And we probably learned, or we should have learned a lot from Berry at the 2024 NFL Combine when he was overly ambitious about a couple of injured players, Jed Wills, DeJuan Jones, Conklin, making returns quicker than expected. And this year, he did not, put himself in that foxhole of putting injury timelines out there that are not accurate. So this year, he did not want to do that. But he did say that Deshaun Watson, as far as how much time he could miss, said how far that spans into 2025, I can't give you a specific right now. He's shown to be a fast healer, and we're going to try and be as thoughtful and aggressive with the recovery process. But that's something that I can predict at the current moment. So Barry in February was like, he'll miss time, but he's shown to be a fast healer and whatnot and aggressive in his rehab. And I think there have been a fair amount of critics out there regarding Deshaun Watson's rehab process. I mean, last summer, people were getting very upset about him coming off a shoulder injury, spending time in Dubai and not working in Cleveland or Miami with his doctor. And then this offseason, people were upset to see him down in Miami, recovering from his Achilles injury, and not in Cleveland with the rest of the team during the remaining games of the regular season. So from a health standpoint, Watson last year showed that he was able to come back from that shoulder fracture by as early as week 1 of 2024. But that's what we got from Barry back in February. Let's move on to the next part of the calendar, which is at the end of March in Florida at the NFL owners meeting when Jimmy Haslam said that they had a big swing and a miss with Deshaun Watson, saying, we thought we had the quarterback, we didn't, and we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him, so we got to dig ourselves out of that hole. Those comments right there really struck a chord for me of this is a quarterback the Browns have accepted a failure on. And as the player, I would think, look at those comments and go, you're done with me, I'm done with you. I'm not going to work my tail off on this rehab to come back to a team that has called me a swing and a miss. And I felt like at that time, that was the nail in the coffin for Deshaun Watson ever playing for the Cleveland Browns again. When the team owner who choreographed the entire trade for Deshaun Watson says, swing and a miss, I don't see a world where he comes back. And then a few days later, Watson posted a video on his Instagram saying, me versus me, and you can see some of the screenshots from the video. A lot of people interpreted that as a response to Jimmy Haslam's comments. I never understand athlete jargon or like language. I don't know why me versus me would be a response to Haslam. Wouldn't it be me versus the Browns? Wouldn't that make more sense? But whatever. So that came out, and people were like, oh, Deshaun Watson sending a message, right, to Jimmy Haslam. He's showing that he's working his ass off and not to give up on him. So that was in late March. Then we move fast forward a few weeks to before the draft when Andrew Berry had his pre-draft press conference and Deshaun Watson came up yet again. And now I want you guys to pay close attention to the language he had on April 17th versus February 25th. It's too early to say. I can say that Deshaun's done a great job of rehabbing. He's been in every day, he's progressing, and that's really our focus. But it's just too early to say. I mean, no major sweeping difference, but he does have a little bit more of an optimistic tone to him, does he not? I mean, in February, I can tell you right now, he's going to miss time in 2025. I don't know how much time, but he's going to miss time. Now it's too early to say. Kind of felt like Andrew Berry was preparing to, Andrew Berry did not want to paint himself into a corner as he got more information in April on Watson's rehab. He didn't want to say he's going to miss time in 2025 or all of 2025. And then fast forward to the start of the season and Watson's healthy. And Berry had that as a possibility in April, but just wanted to speak it into existence that he would miss 2025. Now, why would Andrew Berry want Watson to miss 2025? There's one big financial reason. The Browns can receive $44-ish million in salary cap relief for 2026 if Deshaun Watson misses all of 2025. You see, the Browns put insurance down on Watson's contract, a 5-year, $230 million fully guaranteed deal. So all $230 million at some point has to be applied towards the salary cap. And with the insurance they got on Watson's contract, for all the games he misses, the signing bonus, the base salary, that's insured. And then the next year, they can apply that to the salary cap. So it's in the Browns' best interest to try and dig themselves out of this, salary cap hole they are in with Deshaun Watson, because I was always kind of on board, as dumb as it sounds right now, with the strategy and plan they had in place of we're going to kick the can down the road to maximize our current roster. And that's not a bad plan as long as you do something with that maximized current roster. But if you go 3-14, well, now the can's down the road and you didn't make anything of that new maximized roster. And so I think the Browns are realizing we want to get that $44 million for 2026 because right now the can's down the road and we're not doing anything with this extra salary cap space we generated by delaying the cap hits for Deshaun Watson. So Barry, I feel like, has a lot of motivation to see Watson miss all of 2025. But this brings us to a difficult juncture in the road, which is what if Deshaun Watson doesn't miss 2025? Now, I'll expand on that in a second here, but the last piece of the timeline I want to share is Deshaun Watson came up in a Kevin Stefanski press conference following rookie minicamp or one of the voluntary workout sessions early in May when Stefanski was talking about the rookie quarterbacks, how they stack up against Pickett and Flacco, and Stefanski said, yeah, not so much about how they stack up per se, Mary Kay, but excited to have them around Deshaun, Joe, Kenny. That could be nothing, but I feel like it's a little bit of something. Did Stefanski have to mention Watson? Deshaun Watson, I feel like, has been out of sight, out of mind this entire offseason. He's been not a part of the picture. He's injured. He's going to be out for the whole year, right? Or at least we thought. But here he is, a part of the quarterback meeting rooms in April, May of the offseason for a season which we believe he'll miss the entire year of. A season that I don't see much motivation for Watson to be heavily involved in, given that the owner said, you're a swing and a miss. And maybe Deshaun Watson is taking this chip on his shoulder and looking at it as motivation and not looking at it as a nail in the coffin in his career with the Browns, but wanting to prove people wrong. So where I'm at right now is one, a pretzel in my head, like Ricky Bobby, because I just don't really know what to make of all this. I know I'm supposed to be the one with the answers. That's kind of my job. But this is a very unique and kind of bizarre situation we are in right now. The messaging all offseason has been, not so subtly, we're moving out from Deshaun Watson. He's injured, and he's going to miss all or possibly much of 2025. But now we see him in May without a boot throwing to receivers. Is it really out of the realm of possibility that he's healthy by September 20th? You know, it's May 20th today. June, July, August, September. 4 months from now, and we're at week 2 of the season, week 3. That doesn't seem like a stretch for a guy who's already throwing it out of a boot in May. And if Deshaun Watson is healthy in September, and this is how I want to land this plane. If Deshaun Watson is healthy towards the start of the 2025 season, what do the Browns do? Did they tell him to stay at home and say, we are more interested in the salary cap relief we can get by you missing all of this year? The insurance company would have a field day with that. They are insuring an injured Deshaun Watson. And if you know anything about insurance companies, it's they love not paying the insurance out. So I am sure the insurance company will do a lot of digging to see if Watson is healthy or not. And if it comes out that he is medically cleared to play, but the Browns have no interest in playing him because they're more interested in the salary cap relief they can get by him missing all of this year, this could get ugly. This could get hairy. And if you just put the salary cap insurance aside for a second, pretend that never existed, I feel like the Browns still have motivation for Watson to just kind of sit out this year. They've got Kenny Pickett, a former first-round pick that I think they have some motivation in to see if he can be revitalized. They have 2 rookie quarterbacks in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, who I'm sure they'd love to see pan out a little bit in year one. I'm struggling to see a reason as to why the Browns would want Watson back. From a financial standpoint, it's in their best interest if he stays the hell away. And from a roster management standpoint, they've got 2 rookies and a guy entering his 4th season in the NFL who they have invested interest in to pan out. So what do the Browns do if Watson is healthy and makes it known he's healthy? I wish I had the answer. And if someone does, please let me know. Give me your best thought on this. I'm guessing the Browns feel like we don't need an answer right now. But September 20th is going to get here before they know it. And Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski in that front office, they're a bunch of smart Ivy Leaguers. And I'm sure they've done some forward thinking. And I'd love to know what the answer is to that question. All right, before we wrap it all up, if you want to get a Shedeur Sanders jersey, a Mason Graham jersey, a Quinshon Judkins jersey, go to chatsports.com/CLE rookies. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. Let's pick a card. Reed, which card are you going with today? Okay, good audible. Queen of Clubs. I'll go with 6 of Hearts. No, 8 of Clubs. I'll see everyone later.